All right, everyone, this is going to be a tutorial on how to use Autodesk Sketchbook for the first couple steps of this project. So we are doing a self-portrait project. So of course, the first thing you need to have is a picture of yourself. So you are going to go to the camera app. It has a gray background and a black camera and says camera. When you click on that, you are going to make sure that the camera is flipped towards you. So I need to click this little arrow button, flip it towards me. And then you are going to use the white circle button to take a selfie. So now when you go into your photo library, you can see the ones that I took earlier, and you can see the one that I just took now, looking beautiful. Now what you are going to do is go into Autodesk Sketchbook. Now it is a orange background with a little pencil on it and it says Sketchbook, and it's going to open up to what I was working on today. So what I want you all to do is at the very top of the screen, the first icon that you see is a little rectangle that has 3 dots and 3 lines. And you're going to click on that, and you are going to click on New Sketch. It has a little paintbrush and a plus sign. From here, I like to click on the word Presets, and I click on the middle one, so the second one that you see that says Screen Resolution, and then I click the word Create. Now, it's going to ask me if I would like to save my current sketch or discard. Save means it will save it to the app. Discard means it will delete it forever. So I'm going to save it to the app, and I'll come back to that later. And now you can see I have a big white screen. From here, this canvas to me is a little bit too big. I can't see where I'm drawing. So I am going to use my fingers and pinch them together to make the screen a little bit smaller. Your first step is going to be to upload a photo. So again, look at the top of the screen at this toolbar. I'm moving it back and forth right now. You are going to move it over. There is a rectangle that has a mountain, and it also has a plus sign. You are going to click on that, and it will let you import an image. So I am going to import the selfie that I just took, but it's a little bit small. So what I need to do is with this selfie, take my 2 fingers and push them apart. Before we pinched them together, this time we're pushing them apart, and I'm going to fill up the whole screen so that my selfie takes up the entire canvas. At the very top, there is a blue word that says done. And now you are ready to create. Now, once again, I've mentioned this a couple of times. It would be very hard for me to go through every single tool on this app with you. So I'm just going to go through a couple of them that I like to use, but you are more than welcome to experiment with this app and the toolbar and see what things you personally like to use. Okay, now me on this side, on the left, I'm moving it up and down right now. There are pencils, pens, there's brushes, like paint brushes, there's blending tools, lots of different tools in here. I like to start this project with the 4th one down, which is called the technical pen. And when you click on it with just one finger, just a quick tap, you can see that you can change the size to be thin or thick. And so I like to start kind of in the middle, maybe a little bit on the thicker side. And then I click the pen again, and that goes away. You'll notice on the right side, I have this tool right here. I'm moving it around. Right now it has kind of the skin tone color that I was using earlier. I want it to be black because all I'm going to do right now is start my outline. So I'm going to take this inside circle, push it all the way to the bottom, and make my pen black. Now, here's the really, really important part. If I start drawing on this photo layer, and then at the end I want to get rid of this photo, all of my drawing is going to go away. So I want you to look at the right-hand side. I'm moving it up and down right now. You can see that there is a little blue square that is going around my photo. That means I am currently drawing on that layer. I want to create a brand new layer that is separate from my photo so that I can get rid of my photo later and not get rid of my drawing. So at the top, I'm going to click the back arrow and get rid of that. There are 2 ways to do this. One, you can push the plus sign on the side, and it will give you a new layer. Now you can see I've created a new one. Again, I'm moving it up and down right now, and my blue box is now around the top layer. However, there also is a layer below my photograph layer. What I can do is push down on that layer and drag it above, and boom, now I have that layer as well. Now you need to make sure before you start tracing your project that the layer you are on is the drawing layer and it has the blue square around it. So what I can start doing now is with my finger, going around and tracing details of my face. Okay, now if I take my fingers and I push them apart, I can zoom in and I can get some of these details, and I might even need to make my pen a little bit smaller when I do that, but I can get some of the details up here as well. Now you might notice that some of it is hard to trace because the photograph is so dark. So another thing that you can do, right now I'm pinching my fingers together to bring it out. Another thing you can do is if you tap on your photograph layer once and then twice, just one tap, like a little tap, you can change the opacity of the photograph. So if I bring the opacity down, you'll notice that it gets lighter and lighter and lighter, and then if your opacity is at 0, it's gone. So I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, and then I'm going to tap on that photograph again and get rid of it. But notice, right now, if I were to start drawing, I am drawing on the wrong layer. I am right now going to be drawing on my photograph layer. So you really need to focus and think about what layer you're drawing on. So now I need to click the top layer, my drawing layer, and now I'm good to go. So I can go and trace parts of my nose, and I'm going to do this pretty quickly. If I were doing this as a real project, I would be taking my time and really getting these details, but I'm just trying to go quickly for the tutorial. Okay, and you can get the details of your face, and then you can also get some of the details like in the background. So I have, the ceiling tiles. Again, I'm doing mine pretty quickly. I want you to make sure that you're doing a nicer job than I am, and adding in some of those details in my background. All right. Now, when you are completely done with your sketching and tracing, if you click the little eye emoji on your photograph layer, it will take your photograph away and you can kind of see the progress that you've done so far. So of course, mine's not done, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to move on to coloring. Now, again, I personally like to use the pen, but you can go over on these tools and you can use a bunch of different ones, paintbrushes, pencils, all those things that you can use. I'm going to stick with my pen. Now, I want you to make another layer so that you are not coloring on top of your tracing layer. So I'm going to click the plus sign, and now I have a new layer, and I'm actually going to hold it down and put it below my tracing layer so that when I start coloring things in, I'm going to change my pen color to pink. You can see that my tracing layer is now still on top. If it wasn't, then you can see I'll be coloring over top of all of my tracing things. So I'll want to make sure that my coloring layer is below my tracing layer. Okay. Another thing that I want to point out with coloring is the eyedrop tool. If you want to match the colors exactly with your photograph, you are going to make sure that your photograph layer is on, and you are also going to make sure that it's all the way up in opacity. So give it a tap, give it another tap, and go to 100. From here, you can click on the coloring tool, the color selector tool, and you will see at the very top, there's this rectangle bar. Right now it's pink, and to the right of it, there's this little eyedropper tool. If you click on that, you can actually take it and drag it all the way around your photograph and match the color exactly. So I'm going to try to find a color on my face, and then when I let go, you can see that it is now selected that color, but pay attention. The blue square is now currently around your photograph layer. So you need to make sure that you click your coloring layer. So now I moved it before you begin. Now I can take the photograph away by clicking the eye, and now I can make this a little bit bigger and go in and color those things in. And that is how you would match your skin tone or your t-shirt or sweatshirt color. Now, I might need to go in and select some more colors because you can see my face isn't just one color. So I might just do a little bit of this and then go back to my photograph, go to the dropper tool, click another color, go back to my drawing layer, get rid of that layer, and then I can do this color, and I can keep doing that over and over and over again until I have my face looking the way I want. Okay, another thing that you can do is use the bucket tool, the paint bucket tool. The paint bucket tool is going to be on the top toolbar, so I'm moving it around right now. Look at the top of your screen. And then it looks just like a paint bucket. And it looks like that. You are going to click the first one. It already is clicked right here, solid fill. And then you could click your color that you are going to use. The only thing with the paint bucket tool is your thing that you are trying to fill in needs to be outlined. So you can no longer color on your coloring layer. You need to use the paint bucket on your tracing layer, which is my top layer. So if I go in now, you can see some of my lines aren't completely closed. So if I tried to make my eye blue, it's going to fill in everything that's open blue. So before you use the paint bucket tool, you're really going to want to make sure, I'm going to make my pen black, make it a little bit smaller, that everything is completely closed. So now I'm closing my eye, top layer, tracing layer. Now I can go back to my paint bucket tool, pick blue, and now when I click on it, it should only fill in that one section. So to use the paint bucket tool, everything needs to be completely closed and you need to be on your tracing layer. If I do it on my coloring layer, the whole thing will turn that color. So it needs to be on the tracing layer. Okay, so these are just the first few steps. Hopefully this was helpful and we will talk it through again in class.